Hello everyone and welcome to the town of Nyanza. We're about a 2.5 hour ride south of Kigali right now. And this is our first time experiencing what Rwanda is like outside of the capital city. So I'm really excited for that because as I've seen throughout my travels outside of the capital city, everything changes. And if it seems like I'm sort of like a rushed introduction into this video, that's because I had completely filmed a whole segment of how I got here, the transportation of how to travel from Kigali to here. However, security forces kind of stopped me at the bus station and forced me to delete my content, but more on that stuff later. But right now I am so hungry. I haven't eaten anything yet. It's almost 2 p.m. so I found a restaurant. I'm going to go head there, get lunch, and then tell you exactly why I came here to Nyanza. But for the moment, this is another example of a time when I just had to show up in the town, walk into a hotel and see if they had a room available. Luckily, the first one I walked into, I was able to get a room. And so I'm here at Nyanza, the Heritage Hotel. Great location, just a 5-minute walk away from where the buses leave, and then really close to where this restaurant is, which is probably one of the nicest restaurants in Nyanza from what I can see online. And then I can probably grab a motorcycle taxi down to the main attraction in town. But without further ado, let's go head out, get some lunch because I am starving. I haven't even had my caffeine yet today. Finally got something to eat here in Nyanza at this really nice restaurant called Kindi. I think it's probably like one of the only restaurant of this scale here in Nyanza. It's been really good. Their coffee is really good. That's the one thing I've noticed here in Rwanda is that you don't find coffee a lot, but because it only just caters to really like upscale places, the coffee is usually really good when you do have it because it's local and it's always so beautifully served as well in like a nice clay mug. Really great latte art on top of it as well. But it looks like it might rain and the main attraction here in Nyanza is closing at 6 p.m. so I've just got about 2 hours left to check it out. So I've already paid my bill. I'm gonna head out and then see if I can grab a motorcycle taxi there. It's not that far away. So I've just arrived at the main attraction here in Nyanza, which is the King's Palace Museum. The king referring to the king of the Kingdom of Rwanda, and palace because this city, Nyanza, was actually the capital of the Kingdom of Rwanda. It was where the king resided before the capital was later moved in the 1960s to Kigali. However, that was all a development under the colonialists, but prior to colonialism, the capital was here in Nyanza. I just left the King's Palace Museum and it's really absurd that you're not allowed to film videos anywhere on that property because the whole experience that they've set up for you is one that is so conducive to video. I mean, there's music, there's singing, there are animals, there's storytelling, everything. It's a really great experience for the $9,000 or about like $9 that you pay for the full package. I highly recommend it if you find yourself here in Nyanza for any reason. I don't know why else you would come here other than to visit the King's Palace and then maybe even do some of the surrounding hikes, which I will not be doing, but it's pretty much the same response I've heard everywhere here in Rwanda. Yes, you can take video, but you have to ask for permission from HQ and then they will message us an approval and all of that. So I don't know, but overall highly recommend visiting it. King's Palace Museum was very interesting. The first thing that you do when you visit the King's Palace Museum is to visit the old palace, which is just a recreation or replica of what an old thatched hut sort of structure palace would look like. And actually all the structures kind of look the same. What only distinguishes one structure as the King's Palace is that it's much bigger inside. And when you go in, there's one side for like the king to hold court in front of men, and then there's a division where women would be on one side and then there would be a sleeping quarters on another side. So that's what the structures typically look like. And then behind the king's palace there would be many smaller similar structures, one for having milk, one for storing beer, one for, you know, the bedrooms of various relatives and the like. But that old traditional palace is a replica of the actual palace which sat on a nearby hill but no longer exists today because it was destroyed after the arrival of Europeans. Your next stop will be the new or modern palace, which was constructed in the 1930s, I believe, by the Belgians as a residence for the King of Rwanda. And that palace is completely done in a European style. And you have photos inside of the king dressed in European suits, welcoming visitors from Europe, visiting Belgium himself and the like. Inside these buildings, you can also trace different maps showing the Kingdom of Rwanda over time from the 14th centuries down to 21st century. And you can see how at times it grew, and then after colonization, the Kingdom of Rwanda shrank into what it is today. Also, this town is just so adorable. It's such a small town. You just see, when I'm walking back to my hotel right now, I'm just crossing the paths with people and saying muraho, which is how you say hi in Kenya, Rwanda, and it just brings a smile to everyone's face because I don't think they expect that at all. They're also just greeting each other as people drive by or walk by. It seems like it's really one of those towns where everyone sort of knows each other. It's really cute. And the weather is amazing. It was really hot when I was leaving for lunch, and then I stepped out after lunch and it drizzled a tiny bit, but the weather is so cool. It's just literally perfect weather right now. Another highlight of the tour is seeing the Inyambo cows, but the cows are so important here in the culture, and they're revered in a way that they're so well taken care of by the caretakers. They sing for them, they play this flute like instrument for them. They make sure to keep them very clean and well fed. And this is because milk is also such a revered part of the culture here in Rwanda. Anytime you want to show blessings or shower blessings or any sort of good vibes toward people, you offer them milk. And so if you're gonna respect the milk, you want to respect the cows as well. Just walking back to my hotel, it's like there are all these like small shops and residences right on the side of the sidewalk right here. And so some people were just like staring at me, so I said hi in the local language, and they were like, oh my god, hello. They like broke out in like smiles and like laughter and everything. So I went down and to greet them, and they were like, yeah, there are a lot of travelers who come here, but like no one ever says like hi and like greets us. Everyone's just like busily on their way to the museum or whatever. So they were very happy to say hi, and we took whole photos together and everything. Really good experience. Everyone's so warm and they completely light up when you say muraho. Muraho. So yeah, this is the upside to Rwanda. Definitely the people, regardless of how kind of uptight and insecure the government might be. Okay, so I was just again walking along the street back to my hotel, and I said muraho to these two guys who are here having a great time, having their beer for the evening, and they invited me down here to join them. And turns out we're all actually the same because none of us are from Rwanda. So they're both here from Cameroon. From where in Cameroon?
Yaoundé.
From Yaoundé, from the capital. From the capital, Yaoundé, in order to study law here. So they're going to be here for potentially up to 3 years. And then when they complete their law degree, they can take that certificate and then practice law in Cameroon. So we're just exchanging some of our impressions of spending time here in Rwanda. And it's so funny how all of our impressions actually line up pretty well to everything that I've been telling you so far and everything that I will tell you later in terms of how just life goes here. But is there
Another alien.
Yes.
Not a Rwanda.
Yes, another alien.
Have a good time with him. We're happy about that.
There's our happy hour here. I'm another alien amongst the aliens here in Rwanda. And it's so funny because like before the first day, I spoke to that Indian couple near the convention center, telling me the same thing. Now I'm speaking with these two guys, Edwin and Atobo, from Cameroon and getting the same read on Rwanda. So if we're all getting the same read on Rwanda, that means there's something to dig a little deeper here, a little bit deeper than what the PR campaign for hashtag Visit Rwanda wants to tell you. So that's exactly what this series is about, is to dig deeper, to find out more about the truth about what's going on in every country we visit. And with that, I'll say goodbye with these guys.
Hello.
Bye. Hello, everyone. It's about 9 p.m. I'm back in my hotel, and there's just so much I want to talk about right now. Just given my own impressions, everyone I've talked to today, the sort of hushed tones they bring up, or looking over their shoulders that they do when you start talking about how exactly they find life here in Rwanda. And I'm mostly talking about people who aren't Rwandan people, but people who have come to intimately know Rwandan society and how it is to live here. And when you bring up the topic of rules and regulations, they suddenly get a little bit more reserved. At the same time, it's very, very obvious they have a lot they want to tell you, but they do not feel like they can openly discuss. The two Cameroonian men who I met today, who are here to study to become lawyers in their own countries, had a lot to share with me. The quote that is sticking with me right now is that here in Rwanda, you will definitely be safe, but when you leave and go to your next country, in Uganda, you will feel free. And I completely can see what they mean by that. I personally have only been here for 2 days, but I feel that same sense of living in a paranoia state where when I vlog, everything has to be in hushed tones. I've also turned on the TV in my hotel room to sort of muddle my voice right now. You're always looking behind you to make sure that when you're vlogging, there isn't a police officer there. And just given the high presence of police officers who are uniformed here, I just can't even imagine how many ununiformed plainclothes officers must also be around. I've also heard that people here are still very much in that paranoia mindset given everything that happened in 1994 here. They know how quickly this very, very weak equilibrium can be broken and complete chaos can ensue in society. And so they maybe even conform to the state control here, and they don't mind it because they know what can happen when control is lost and when one little thing can go wrong, and exactly all the horrors that can spark. So I'm very empathetic to those memories, to that shared experience that happens here. The paranoia is very, very real, and citizens are quick to report anything that they see that's out of the ordinary to the police, and the police take it very, very seriously. Even very recently, with the US and the EU making allegations against the Rwandan government for supporting M23 rebels across the border in the Congo, that has just heightened the diplomatic tension between the West and Rwanda and its actions, and they're so paranoid of US spies or really any sort of publicity that will derail their great, really wonderful, probably the best in Africa, PR campaign for hashtag Visit Rwanda. The motto that you will hear even before you reach Rwanda is 1,000 hills and 1,000,000 smiles. Trust me, I've climbed a few of those hills. I saw a lot of them when I was driving here. I've definitely seen the smiles, and that's really what makes my time here in Rwanda worthwhile. But at the same time, as somebody who's just, a traveler and an observer, you can't help but note that there's something dark lurking here still today. And the government is trying really, really hard to shun anyone from seeing that side of the country. They want you to see the clean roads. They want you to see the high standard of living, at least along those main clean roads. They want you to go see the gorilla conservation projects. They want you to see how a nation has, quote unquote, witnessed a turnaround from the atrocities witnessed not even 30 years ago. And there's a lot to appreciate there, but at the same time, that isn't the entire picture of what's going on here. It just takes a small turn off the main road, away from the international organizations, away from the investment targets, to see what the real Rwanda is like. And I think I almost encroached a little bit on that real Rwanda by filming at the bus station. And the officers actually told me that the reason why I had to stop filming was because there was too much chaos here. It was the chaos that wasn't a part of the curated PR campaign for what Rwanda is. It was the chaos of a natural bus station of a large African city. It's what they look like in Dakar, in Abidjan, in Dar es Salaam, anywhere. And most people acknowledge it and they don't care who in the world sees it. But here in Rwanda, they do not want to portray that side of the country to the world. So yes, they do want you to visit Rwanda, and you see that campaign everywhere. But there's a certain type of tourism that they encourage with the Visit Rwanda campaign. It's not me taking a 2-hour bus ride in between Kigali and Nyanza and walking around and talking to people and get to know exactly how people's lives are here. That's not what they want. They're looking for the people who will fly into Kigali, travel the main roads, stay in a nice hotel in the nice areas of Kigali, and then go on their gorilla chase out into the mountains, take their videos, take their pictures in the gorilla parks, spend thousands of dollars maybe per day even to go see these gorillas and stay in the lodges and fund these conservation projects. And that's all fine and good, but that's not how I travel, and that's not the curated experience that I want from a country. But this is only day 2 for Nonstop Nikhil. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot more commentary coming from me, but it's very important that I can at least express how I feel and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from other people while I'm still here and it's fresh and raw in my own mind. At the same time, I acknowledge this is only day 2 of me here in Rwanda. My thoughts could completely change over the next few days, and I hope they do. But regardless, with that, I want to say goodbye. I hope you enjoyed at least whatever I could tape today. I will definitely try to add any supplemental videos and photos that I took from my phone and otherwise, but I saw some great things. I had some not so great times as well, but that's all a part of travel, and you better trust that with my sort of travel, you will not be getting that curated, whisk me off to the gorillas type of itinerary. I'm going to try to stay as close to the people as I can while still taking care of myself. With that, I will say good night. Good night, everyone.